Good day. This is April 7, 2020. This is Ruben Rosales reporting to you from Los Angeles. On Monday, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is transferred to intensive care as his condition worsens. In Wuhan, China, the city where the COVID-19 cases were first recorded has now ended its lockdown as there were no deaths for the first time since January. The death toll in France surpasses 10,000. Around the world, there are now over 1.4 million cases and over 81,000 deaths related to the coronavirus. In U.S. news, Thomas Modley, U.S. Navy Secretary, resigns today after firing USS Theodore's Naval Commanding Officer Brett Crozier. On Monday, Modley addressed the aircraft carrier's crew of over 4,000, calling Crozier naive and stupid. Later that day, Modley recanted his opinions about Crozier by apologizing. In New York, the highest death toll is recorded in a 24-hour period with 731 people. There are now over 390,000 confirmed cases of coronavirus across the United States with over 12,620 deaths. Over 290,000 people have recovered from the coronavirus across the globe.
We'll triumph through our sorrows and rise to bless you still. To marvel at your beauty and glory in your ways, and make a joyful duty our sacrifice of praise.
In Wall Street, the Dow Jones is down 0.12%. The S&P 500 is down 0.16%. The NYSE Arca Oil Index is up 0.91%. The Nasdaq Composite is down 0.33%. The Russell 2000 Index is up 0.034%. Hello, and welcome to another edition of my podcast. Thank you all for joining me. I am here with my Director of Operations, Faith. Say hello, Faith. Faith. Oh, she's sleeping. Okay, so I want to talk about a few things today. I want to talk about computers, microphones, laptops, and the fact that I'm a perfectionist to a fault. Now, there's a lot to give here. I don't have all the best equipment, I understand, and there's always going to be something better. They're always coming out with new stuff. I think I'm starting to take a downward spiral with technology, folks. I think I'm starting to lose that battle. Because I'm turning into that guy that's just computer illiterate. Because yesterday, I was going crazy. I was trying to conduct an interview with a good friend of mine. And I had it all set up, except that my computer just didn't want to cooperate. Now, I don't know exactly what's going on with this software, but every time I log in, I get the internet going. My computer decides to update. So right in the middle of a conversation the other day, I had to stop because it shut itself down. So I went in there and I looked at all the different times and what am I supposed to do here? So there's this hourly time of activity that's been recording when I use it. So it tries to update on the times that I don't use it. But now I'm using the computer all day. So how is that working? It's breaking up right in between. So the only thing that I can think of to do is to freaking not connect to the internet. At least not for a while. At least not while I'm trying to do an interview or a few hours before. Because I am a perfectionist. I want everything to be right and it doesn't always work that way. So, what? So I guess my computer also has a virus. Take Tantrum 20. Or Take Tantrum 55. I don't know. It's got something. Certainly doing a number on me. But anyway, everything's going to be fine. All right? We got bigger problems in the world. But we're going to be okay. I have a very special person for you all today. He's a piano player from St. Teresa of Avila Catholic Church here in Los Angeles. So stay tuned. Hey, you there, Stephen?
I'm here.
Okay. Yes, we are here with Stephen Penafiel. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct, actually.
Okay. Okay, and he is a piano player. He is a student of California State University, Los Angeles, and he also plays the electric piano or the keyboard at Saint Teresa of Avila Catholic Church, which is a church that I attend. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Stephen, and where you come from, your family, what you do. And I know we specified that you're a student, but just tell us why you decided to come into music.
So I was born in Manila, Philippines in 1995, but my family decided to move to initially New York in 96. And then because around that time my family was currently living with one of my paternal aunts, they decided that they wanted to move out here in Los Angeles. So probably around 97 or so, we've been living around LA or Hollywood more specifically for basically my entire life. So I don't recall much about my life back in the Philippines. But I was basically, I would say I was basically born and raised here in LA. And it's funny because I used to live around my community college, but around elementary school, moved out here to Hollywood. But I went to elementary school to high school around, probably within like a 5-mile vicinity around my apartment. Within that time, I wasn't much of like a star student, you would say. I was just going with the flow. But around 11th or 12th grade, it sort of dawned upon me that I should get my act together. So that's when I told myself I want to do better with my grades, and I want to prove to myself that I can achieve great things. So 11th and 12th grade, I started having this overachieving mentality of comparing myself with others and say, you know what, I can finish my homework before you. And it was, as funny as that may seem, it was something that kept me going. And I look back to that in retrospect because I feel like that's what helped shape me to become who I am. Interesting story, I actually applied for Cal State LA in high school, but I didn't get accepted to it. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let that get to me. I'm going to go to community college at Los Angeles City College, get an associate's degree, and initially it was child development. But during my first semester at LACC, I took a music theory class. I don't know, it just clicked with me that this was something I really wanted to do. So taking that music theory class, I started taking intro to piano, then I started taking more advanced classes like harmony, and it had to delve into like music history. So I just got very engrossed with it, and it was something that I've always liked doing ever since. Like, even though I've only played piano for, I want to say, since 2014, that's almost 6 years, I believe. It's something that's always caught my eye in terms of analyzing music, seeing what the composer had in mind when they're composing their music. You know, why is a song considered good? Like, do you really base it off of emotion, or do you critically analyze it? So as of late, that's something I've looked forward to when it comes to listening to music. Like, why does it sound good? So after LACC, I applied to Cal State LA, and I actually got in. So there's that, and what helped me get in was this drive just to keep doing better with my art. I had a really good private piano instructor. Her name was Patricia Hannafin, and she was this amazing woman who saw great things in me, and it just helped push me to become who I am as a musician. Yeah, and after that, I graduated from LACC around 2017. Then I went to Cal State LA from fall of 2017 until now. And now this semester is my last semester there at Cal State LA.
That's fantastic. So you just gravitated toward the piano. Do you play any other instruments?
Yeah, it's funny. Initially, I was playing the guitar in ninth grade. I got into metal guitar, but I felt like I wasn't taught properly how to play the guitar until I took a intro to classical guitar class back at LACC, which delves into proper posture, proper hand technique, like very fundamental things that I should have applied to my guitar playing. I mean, like, who knows? Maybe if I would have taken that intro to guitar class back in ninth grade, I would have pursued the guitar. But what gravitated me towards piano was in senior year of high school. I was in the cafeteria, and there was this girl who was playing the piano inside the cafeteria, and she was playing a Chopin piece. It was a Chopin Prelude number 4 in E minor, and it's a very famous, sad piece of music.
A beautiful piece, yes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful piece of work. Not to go too crazy into it, but like in the sense of the harmonies and where the simple melody goes, I just caught my eye, you know. So with that, I thought, oh, let me do some more research on this composer, Chopin. And one of the first pieces that I listened from Chopin was the Nocturne in E flat major, and it was an intro to piano. And around the time my brother was teaching me a bit of music theory about how to read notes, what's a treble clef, what's a bass clef, very fundamental things. And ever since then, it was just this love and drive for it.
So what kind of music have you been playing lately, and who are your favorite composers?
It's interesting you bring that up. One of my favorite composers that I still look up to nowadays is a video game composer named Nobuo Uematsu, and he's very famous for composing music for the Final Fantasy series. When I was learning how to play the piano, one of the compositions that got me into the piano was this piece called To Xanarkin from the game Final Fantasy X, and it's just an intro to the game, and it was very solemn, very sad for the most part, but it was actually a piece of music for an intermediate player. But I thought, you know what, this is so gorgeous. No matter how hard the piece of music is, I'm willing to put in the effort into it. And there came a point where I learned it, and it was great. So every time I get in a rut with music, with learning a piece of music, I always look back to when I was first introduced to compositions from Nobuo Uematsu to help me carry on with my struggle.
Great. What kind of pieces are you working on now?
Oh, right now, currently I'm working on my senior recital, and the pieces I'm working on, if I'm going in chronological order, is Bach, Fantasy in E minor. Then we have Mozart's Sonata. The last movement is a very famous movement that everybody knows. It's the Rondo alla Turca. And then there's a Mendelssohn piece that's in A major. It was after his death, somebody titled it Confidence. So there's that. And then there's a Chopin waltz in C sharp minor. And then we have Bartók's 6 Romanian dances. That's what I'm currently working on for the senior recital. As for myself, I was actually working on a ragtime piece from a Final Fantasy game, funnily enough. So every time I'm stuck in a rut with learning repertoire for my senior recital, I go back to that.
So tell the listeners how you and I met.
So around the time when I was getting ready to play for church at St. Teresa de Avila, Ruben came up to the mezzanine where the keyboard was located. And me, I'm very like skeptical when it comes to strangers. So I said very dismissively, yeah, just ask Father Peroni. He can help you out, right? If I would have shut Ruben down, it would have been like a huge regret to me, because ever since I collaborated with Ruben, it was just an instant click of music making, because he studied music, and we both have a good understanding of what we're supposed to communicate whenever we fall short in something. So that's something I appreciate so much when it comes to working with Ruben, the collaboration aspect to it. And prior to meeting Ruben, I was working with two vocalists, and there was just a lot of miscommunication and language barriers with one another. And it sort of unmotivated me to continue going to church. What's done in the past now, I was left alone as a pianist, and I was okay with it, but there wasn't really much of a spark until Ruben came. So I'm very, very thankful. Every time I collaborate with Ruben, I always remind myself that it's such a blessing to work with him.
Thank you, brother. So we've been working together for like 2 years now. Is that correct?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Right. So we do a lot of this. Right. We do a lot of the Spanish songs there at Mass. And, given the current crisis, how are you handling the situation? Are you doing okay out with your family? And
right now, mainly my family's just staying home. But honestly, it's hard. It's really difficult to just keep yourself isolated from the outdoors. But I do try my best to apply social distancing. But earlier, I thought I'm really hungry. I really want to get some food outside from my house. So I went outside, and it's wild to me that there's hardly anybody walking outside. And normally there's street cleaning outside of my apartment, but it seems like it's not even necessary to do that because of the lack of people coming around the area. And I got my food, applied social distancing, but it's nuts that this whole mess has led us to just be isolated.
Right. It's so difficult in a city like this, to have social distancing, because as soon as you go out the door, there's just people coming from all directions. But, we do the best we can, and we just try to stay focused, of course. But I just wanted to get back to just musically. You do work there at St. Teresa, but do you have any plans of doing any more professional work? Well, hopefully when the crisis is over. I don't know if you had anything lined up, but is that part of your future goal? Did you want to teach, or did you want? I imagine you want to perform locally, but just tell us a little bit of information about that.
So my plan A would be being in music education, as either talking about being a teacher in music theory or be a private piano instructor. But aside from that, in terms of gigs, I would love to do that, because the collaboration aspect is something I look forward to a lot when it comes to music making. So probably like with you, Ruben, you did mention that you wanted to have some gigs with me, and every time you mention that, I get a kick out of it, because it's something I actually do want to do. Yeah.
Right. I look forward to working with you in the future. So that hopefully will happen pretty soon, sooner than later. But we will be working together. I just wanted to elaborate. You said you wanted to be a teacher, but you also, you primarily studied classical, but you've been able to do all different types of genre, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Fantastic. So you plan to teach in the future? You plan to continue exploring other opportunities and just continue to doing stuff professionally? With that, I want to thank you for this interview and taking the time to contact me. So I really appreciate it.
For sure. No, thank you. It's a great opportunity. Thank you. Thanks for considering me. to be part of your podcast.
Again, we are speaking with Stephen Penafiel, and I thank you very much, brother.
Thank you, Ruben.
The following is a live performance of a song entitled Tú Reinarás by an anonymous composer with Stephen Penafiel on digital piano. This concludes our podcast. Thank you for joining us. Until next time.